Today I'm going to share with you my very favourite cozy mysteries, the ones if you're looking to try books in the genre you should absolutely pick up. The first series is the Deputy Donut Mysteries by Ginger Bolton. It starts with Survival of the Fritters. In this series we follow Emily. She in the past has been a 911 operator, but when her cop husband died in the line of duty, she retired and she started up a donut shop that largely caters towards emergency services. The shop is named after her cat, Deputy Donut. Although Emily isn't involved in the services anymore, she has lots of friends and connections in the police, in the fire department, amongst the paramedics. So though Emily is an amateur sleuth, it has a slightly more procedural feel than some of the other cozies, but the real selling point for this one for me is the cafe. It's really gorgeously described. They do different types of donut every week, different types of coffee. There is an entire glass office where Donut is allowed to roam to, not break health and safety rules. The whole place sounds just delightful and like an amazing place to visit. I got into this series by accident. I requested book 8 from NetGalley, and then because I'm the way I am, I needed to read books 1 to 7 before I could read and review book 8. And I'm really glad that I did that, because while at the time it was annoying, I don't know that I would have caught up so many books in a series so quickly if I wasn't aiming to read that arc. And I've had a great time with this series. I've really enjoyed it. And so I'm really looking forward to continuing on to, I think, book 9. There are currently 10 books in the series, with the last one being Sour Crime Donuts. But as far as I can see, Ginger Bolton does intend to continue the series. There's no mention of it stopping anytime soon, and she has a couple of upcoming releases mentioned on her website. The next food-related mystery series is the Grilled Cheese Mysteries by Reilly. This one starts with Up to No Gouda. Every time I've read one of these books, I have been overcome with the desire to eat cheese. I do also love our sleuth though. Carly has returned to her hometown after the death of her husband and is pursuing her lifelong dream to run a grilled cheese shop. The staff in this book are like a found family, and I just love the dynamic between the characters in this. The community of the people that run the grilled cheese shop and that kind of come into their lives along the way is just so rich. I'm currently caught up with this series, having read the book 6, Edam and Weep, just a couple of months ago. And again, this is a series that, as far as I'm aware, and I have my fingers crossed, is still going to be continuing. Amanda Flower is an absolutely prolific cozy writer, but the series that I personally am the most fond of is her Amish Sweet Shop series. In this we follow Bailey, who is a New York chocolatier. She is called back to her grandparents' small sweet shop when her grandfather takes ill. Bailey's grandparents are Amish, but she isn't. And because the town of Harvest is a real mixing pot of Amish community and English community, Bailey fills this gap where she works really well as a middleman. She is able to dip her toe into the investigations there, and usually the cases in this series blend the two worlds. The most recent book in the series, book 10, is Truffle Trouble, and it is coming out next month. I've already read the arc and I had a great time. For a 10th book in a series, I thought it did a really wonderful job of feeling like a celebration of the world as a whole. We got lots of cameos, we had a lot of big events, and it pulled in some characters from the spin-off series, the Amish Matchmaker Mysteries, that also happen in Harvest. Flower has multiple other mystery series, and I think I've enjoyed everything I've picked up. She's written about magic gardens, she's written about historical reenactment sites, she's written about a bookshop, there's a quilting shop. She dips her toe into every type of cozy. If we're moving away from the sweet shop and the Matchmaker series in Harvest, then the other one that I really want to mention is her Farm to Table series. This starts with Farm to Trouble, and I'm actually not completely caught up yet. I've read up to book 4, but there is also a book 5 currently available. This follows Shiloh, who is, or has been, a kind of bigwig Hollywood producer. She returns home to her father and their family farm in Michigan, determined to turn the failing farm around by bringing it up to date, by making it sustainable and organic and offering something that she doesn't think the other farms in her area are able to provide. A lot of the fun in this series comes from how different Shiloh's life has become from the town she left, that conflict between big city and small town, the way that Shiloh thinks of the town, but also how the town think of her. There's a lot of nice conflicts there, including her little handbag pug that seems completely ridiculous when it's in this very rural farming community. To move away from all those food themed cozies, I have what is probably my favourite cozy mystery series, or at least it's the one that really got me into cozies, and this is the Haunted Yarn Shop Mysteries by Molly MacRae. The first book is The Last Will and Testament, and there are currently 6 books in the series, and that does seem like where it's going to finish, but if there's ever another book, I will be really excited to pick it up. Our protagonist here is Kath, who is a textile restorationist historian, but she loses her job right at the same moment as her grandmother dies. She returns to the small town of Blue Plum to clear out her grandmother's shop, her house. She ends up taking over the running of the store, the yarn shop in question, and she finds that she isn't the only resident. We have some great characters in this, but one of my favourite things is definitely Kath's relationship with the ghost, Geneva, who lives in the store with her. Geneva is such a quirky character. She adds a lot of entertainment value to the story. She causes a lot of problems for Kath without meaning to. But as the series goes on, you also get to know more of her history, and she really has a nice poignant story that adds some weight to all the cozy and murder happenings. Kath unravels all of the mysteries that she looks into with the help of the knitting and yarn group that she inherits along with the shop. Thank goodness it's Fiverr. There's so many quirky characters here. I love in each book hearing what the yarn group are working on alongside the mystery itself, whether that's yarn dyeing workshops or yarn bombing the town. There's always a really strong element of craft going on while we have our mystery. If books about books are more your thing, then I absolutely adore Victoria Gilbert's Blue Ridge Library Mystery Series that starts with Murder for the Books. In this one we have Amy, a librarian who lives with her elderly aunt in a small town in Virginia. Again, it's the cast of characters that really gets me. I would say that this doesn't have as strong a librarian theme as some other books that I've read that are set in libraries. Blue Ridge itself, the town, all of the community and the characters are more the theme of the book than specifically the library, but we do see it get used in different mysteries along the way. Much like with the grilled cheese mysteries, one of my favourite things about this series is that the love interest isn't a detective. We actually have a really nice slow burn relationship between Amy and her neighbour, who has a career that I don't think I've ever seen in any male protagonist, let alone in a cozy mystery. There are currently 9 books in the series, and the latest one, Beth and the Librarian, came out just last year. Another series that doesn't have a super defined niche are the Poppy McAllister mysteries by Libby Klein. This one starts with Class Reunions Are Murder and finishes up on book 9, Silent Nights Are Murder. I read this series, I think the first 8, pretty much back to back, and then waited on absolute tenterhooks for book 9. And honestly, if the series had continued longer, I would have stuck with it. I loved this series. We follow newly widowed Poppy as she returns to her quirky great aunt's home in Cape May and tries to set up a business and a life there. One of the things I loved about this series is that each book kind of has its own theme to it. Yes, Poppy is running the B&B, but in the first it's all about her coming back, hence the Clash Reunions. Future books have one that's set at a beauty expo, one that is all about antiquing, one that is about a kind of restaurant competition week. So you get little bits of all different types of cozies in this one series. I also love Poppy as a protagonist, although I have seen some reviewers critique that. She's definitely flawed, but I personally really enjoyed that. One of Poppy's big decisions right in that first book is whether to re-spark an old romance with her childhood sweetheart, who she actually cheated on with the man she ended up marrying. She also has a lot of issues around her weight. There's a lot of talk of dieting in these books, and when she moves on from just dieting to lose weight, there is still a lot of talk about food because there's a lot of Poppy trying different recipes, Poppy moving to gluten-free food. I know that some reviewers do have problems with that, but I just thought it made her really, really down to earth and really relatable. She's not perfect, she can be a little bit judgmental, but I really like her and I really think the series is a lot of fun. Aunt Ginny is an absolute hellion. She's always getting Poppy into more and more trouble rather than getting her out of it. There is a really swoony love interest in this one, and I was just fully invested in where Poppy was going to end up. A series that does have a very, very specific niche is the Christmas Tree Farm Mysteries by Jacqueline Frost. This one starts with the 12 Sleighs of Christmas. This has become an annual tradition for me to, in December, pick up the most recent instalment and read it in the very last week or so before Christmas. Much like the title suggests, Holly and her parents run a Christmas tree farm on the outskirts of a very intensely Christmas-themed, Christmas-focused town called Mistletoe. Every instalment of the books brings us back to the farm 1 year later, so they are all set at Christmas, and we get to see the different events that are happening at the farm during their reindeer games period, where they have lots of different activities to draw in tourists and to really tie in with the Christmas bonanzas that this town holds. These are absolutely perfect for getting you into that wintry mood, and I really like that because they happen yearly, we really get to see Holly's life progressing through the series. There are currently 6 books. The most recent one came out just last year, A Wonderful Christmas Crime. The next one is actually a standalone, and I think it might be the only book on this list that is, but this is Cheddar Off Dead by Beth Cato. We follow cheese-obsessed Bird, whose job is to make themed cheese platters for different events. Again, I love a book that's going to sell me some cheese, but I also really like that this one had some really specific representation in it. Bird is autistic, and that comes through a lot in the course of the mystery. It's relevant to her career, it's relevant to why she feels compelled to investigate, and I just thought it was really unusual to see neurodivergent rep in a cozy mystery, and this one seemed done particularly well. Then, to jump across the pond, we have the 3 Dahlias mystery series by Katy Watson. I feel like I'm saying that all of these are my favourites, and they are, but this one is a real favourite. The concept's a little bit more convoluted, but it does make sense as soon as you read the book. Basically, we have a character that has been created by an Agatha Christie type author, Dahlia Lively. And our 3 protagonists in this series are actresses who have each played Dahlia Lively at different points through the years. Rosamond is in her 60s and she played Dahlia in the original movies back in the 70s. Carol, who is in her 40s, played Dahlia in a TV series in the 80s and 90s. And then we have Posey, who is a young up-and-coming starlet and has been cast as Dahlia in the brand new Hollywood reboot. The very first mystery in the series is called The 3 Dahlias, and it is that in the lead up to this big Hollywood production, as a promotional event, we are having a Dahlia Lively convention. All 3 of the actresses are invited. It is very Miss Marple coded, very locked room mystery manor house, and a really great time. As the series goes on, we see lots of different locations. We go off to an isolated Scottish castle in the middle of winter as the characters are on set for a film. We go to London's West End as there is a murder at the same time as 2 of our actresses are working in a theatre. In book 6, which is due out this year, our 3 actresses are going to try and preemptively solve a murder aboard a cruise ship. There are currently 7 books listed for this series, which I'm really excited about because it means I have at least 2 to read when they release. The last book is a little bit different from the others. Again, it's a standalone, but also it is told through mixed media, the bookish equivalent, I guess, of found footage. This is A Killer Question by Janice Hallett. Janice Hallett always writes her mysteries this way, but The Killer Question was my personal favourite of the ones I've read. The mystery is told entirely through text message exchanges, through reports that have been uncovered, through transcripts and flyers, and kind of documentary evidence. We are following Mal and Sue. They're struggling to keep an isolated rural pub alive, so they run a weekly pub quiz. They have a group chat with lots of other pub owners in their area who all run quizzes, and the big mystery at the start seems to be a team that has come in out of nowhere and is absolutely annihilating all of the competition in their quizzes each week. As the story progresses, the mysteries become a little more convoluted, they become a little bit darker, we get our murder coming through, and I just really enjoyed seeing this unravel and the layers to the different mysteries being revealed. It is a little darker than the other cozies I've talked about, but I think that pub setting and the quiz night angle kind of give it a cozier feel than Hallett's other books. So those are my top 11 cozy mystery series. Let me know in the comments if you've read any of them, if you've enjoyed them, and if not, what your favourite cozy mystery series is, so that I can go off and pick that one up. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.